God can do big things with your biggest mistakes. He has forgiven me of my deepest, darkest, most horrible stuff. And I want everyone to know that they can have that too. I was 18 years old and I was into crystal meth by this time and freebasing cocaine, which is way worse than just snorting. It's basically smoking crack, which led to dealing. And I was selling large quantities of crystal meth, and I could make very good money doing that, and I did it all day, every day. And that's when I met Mike, my first husband. He was my best friend, and I knew as soon as I met him that that's who I wanted to marry. But he was very anti-drugs, so he didn't know about most of that, or what he knew about, he thought that I just did it as a business. It wasn't until we started dating that he realized I was actually hooked on it, and I was high all day, every day. And he's the one that helped me get off of it. He was raised by a drug addict mother. Actually wasn't raised by his mother. His grandmother raised him because his mother was into drugs. Years later, he had a back injury at work. This doctor put him on Loratabs, and then to Percocets, and then to Oxycontins, which are all very highly addictive, which led to a severe pharmaceutical drug addiction for him.
When I got into Premier, I went to the meeting to see what it was all about, and immediately I thought, this is for Carolyn.
What? Are you crazy? No, I don't want to sell jewelry. I don't wear jewelry. I don't know anybody, and I don't do parties. Click. She was at my house visiting. She lived 3 hours away. And she's in my kitchen, and a friend of mine was there and said, "Hey, I hear you sell jewelry. Can I see it?" And I thought, oh, brother. So Michelle brought in a case of jewelry and showed it to my friend Renee and scheduled a show. And I had to go to that show because here we were, both of them, my sister and my friend, and I watched my sister do the show. And I thought, that's it. That was, that wasn't so bad. And I booked a show because you got a free bracelet if you booked a show, and it was gonna help my friend get free jewelry. So I thought, okay, I'll have a show. And then sitting in my kitchen, making my list of everyone that I was going to invite, I thought, she's gonna make half of everything my friends buy, or I could make half of everything my friends buy. And the wheels started turning. I mentioned it to my husband, who was totally on board with me a year before when we knew she was gonna fail and that it was a scam. And he said, yep, you should do it.
He saw how it kind of gave her something to be excited about and to have fun with, and it gave her purpose. And having a job that you're proud of and that you feel good about is important. And Carolyn didn't have that before Premier.
I didn't know what I was doing, but from all of my shows, I was getting bookings. When I went to Rally, I got to walk across the stage for Quick Start. I'd made designer in my first year, so Rally was just like going across stage over and over, and I was making money and meeting new people and doing something besides changing diapers. Mike told me that he was gonna go see his mother, which was code for he was probably gonna get something because she used methadone, which is another pharmaceutical. And I met him for lunch. We went to our favorite pizza place, and the kids played video games with him, and he even took the kids with him to go work on my jeweler's house. She was getting ready to move to Florida, and he was helping them get some things ready. So, everything completely normal day. And I went to a hair appointment, and here I am with foil in my hair, getting highlights. And he calls me and says, I'm having trouble focusing. Can you come help me finish this job? And I asked him if he could just lay down and try to sleep it off, and I'd get there as soon as I could. And he said yes. And so I got there an hour later, and I looked in his work van, and he was lying down, and it looked like he was asleep. And I opened the side door, and I could tell immediately that something was wrong. I banged on my friend's door, and she called 911, and I did CPR on him till the paramedics got there. And they worked on him for a while and basically came and told me that, there was nothing more they could do. They said they could take him to the hospital, but that they'd just do the same stuff there. And I gave them permission to stop. And I went inside the house with my parents and took the kids into a side room and explained that their dad had gone to heaven. And I explained, that it was an accident, that he loved them very much and he never meant for that to happen.
Mike's death was just so shocking. Carolyn had her sample show that next night, and rather than trying to call all these people and say, I've canceled it, or trying to explain in an email that Mike died, she decided to, stick it out and not tell anyone and try and just fake it through the night. And so I came down from Kansas City to try, to help out with the jewelry show, and Stephanie was there.
I had my family, I had my church family, but Kathy and Tom Allen, they came to my house the day before the funeral, and they couldn't be at the funeral because it was rally time. Mike's funeral was the day before a rally, and they spent hours with me. And Tom took my kids to McDonald's. I think he gave them money too. And Kathy just sat and visited, and they put the word out. I got cards from jewelers all over the United States. It just amazed me, the love and support that these women poured out. And I never would have known any of them if it wasn't for Premier. I had hostesses bring me Rice Krispie treats, one who always served Rice Krispie treats at her shows because she knew I loved Rice Krispie treats. It was like the happiest sad time you could ever have in your life, because even though my world was shattered, I had so many people that loved us and cared about us that it was amazing. I wanted to go to Rally. I wanted to be with my jewelers, and I knew that it would be the most positive place I could be, and it was. Everybody was so nice to me. The whole rally is kind of a daze. I'm sure I didn't learn anything from any of the training, but I felt loved the whole time.
When she came back, she was really glad that she went. It was really good for her to be around people. It was good to be busy, and it was good to have the spiritual support.
I get more out of a Premier rally than I get from most women's retreats that I've been on. It's just more uplifting and encouraging.
God sent the guy that she was in love with in high school to cross her path.
Oh, Jamie, he's so wonderful. Jamie and I dated when we were teenagers. I met him, I think I was 17. So as soon as we started being friends, it was just already there. And he let me know very early on that he was ready whenever I was ready. He was 30 years old, never married, no kids. And it was basically like God had taken him and set him aside and said, you just wait here because I have a plan for you. Jamie has just always been very supportive. He calls himself my trophy husband because we got married, and then 2 weeks later went on a cruise with Premier, and he got introduced to all of these people and has since been on a couple different Premier trips with me. And he's just wonderful. He carries my jewelry to the car. When I need help making hostess packets, he'll help me make hostess packets. He is not a huge talker, so he recognizes the value of me doing jewelry shows because I need people to talk to me some.
I think she loves feeling good about herself. She loves helping other people. I think she uses Premier to not just talk about jewelry, but to also talk about God. I think it's just fun.
With Mike and Jamie, both, the fact that God would give me two men that would still love me in spite of my past. Premier preaches that. Premier preaches, that God didn't make you a nobody, he made you a somebody, and I really appreciate that. But a lot of people, I think, have trouble forgiving themselves of their pasts. But Jesus says, it's as far as the east is from the west. He's forgotten it. Once you've asked for forgiveness, you're a new creation. And I just want everyone to have that freedom and to know that no matter what they've done, their life can be great.